Chris Mutuk, your lifestyle coordinator here at the Overture in Virginia Beach. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the history of taps, the most recognized song across the world, played for American military, lights out, and funerals. The song is composed of only 24 notes. So let's get into the history. So taps, as we currently know it, came about in 1862. Composed right after the 7 days on battles, a bloody battle that waged for a week in the summer of 1862. So the song was intended to mourn the fallen. So the two armies, led by Confederate General Robert E. Lee and Union Major General George B. McClellan, suffered over 36,000 casualties combined. While the Union Army was driven back down the Virginia Peninsula with Lee's army continued on towards Maryland, those who survived would not call either side victorious. So one woman who witnessed the aftermath wrote, "Death held a carnival in our city." So after the shock of that battle, the Army of the Potomac was camped at Harrison's Landing on the James River in Virginia, resting and recuperating, when Brigadier General Daniel Butterfield summoned Private Oliver Wilcox Gordon, the brigade bugler, to his tent. Butterfield expressed not liking the bugle call used for lights out because he thought it was too formal. So according to Private Gordon, during the early part of the Civil War, I was bugler at the headquarters of Butterfield's brigade, Merrill's division, Fitzjohn Porter's Corps, Army of the Potomac, up to July 1862. The infantry calls for taps was that set down in Casey's Tactics, which Mr. Kobe says was borrowed from the French. One day soon after 7 days battles on the peninsula, when the Army of the Potomac was lying in camp at Harrison's Landing, General Daniel Butterfield, then commanding our brigade, sent for me and showing me some notes on a staff written in pencil on the back of an envelope. Asked me to sound them on my bugle. I did this several times, playing the music as written. He changed it somewhat, lengthening some notes and shortening others, but retaining the melody as he first gave it to me. After getting it to his satisfaction, he directed me to sound that call for taps thereafter in place of the regulation call. The music was beautiful on that still summer night and was heard far beyond the limits of our brigade. The next day I was visited by several buglers from neighboring brigades, asking for copies of the music, which I gladly furnished. I think no general order was issued from Army headquarters authorizing the substitution of this for the regulation call. But as each brigade commander exercised his own discretion in such minor matters, the call was gradually taken up through the Army of the Potomac. So printed in an 1898 interview for Century Magazine, this account was supported by Brigadier General Daniel Butterfield, who clarified that he did not read music, but that he called someone and who did whistling the tune for them. So while they wrote it in the musical notation on the back of the envelope, he then called Bugler Gordon in and made further adjustments. So Butterfield's taps soon became the Army standard for lights out as well as military funerals. It was first used at a funeral in 1862, so the funeral being held for a soldier was close to enemy lines, and the traditional 3 shots could not be fired because it would give away their position. Instead, Butterfield's taps was played. So at John F. Kennedy's funeral, the bugler missed the 6th note because of the cold weather. That missed note, which sounded like a sob to many, became a symbol of the nation's sorrow for the loss of their president. You can actually hear it if you YouTube it, starting at 2:20. You can hear it in that video. So, a question of origins. So the above story of taps is the one that is most widely known, right? But it isn't the complete story. So Butterfield likely did not compose this tune from scratch, although he could play the bugle because he said it was necessary skill for any officer commanding a regiment of brigade. So he was not a musician. While he had composed simple calls for his brigade in the past, including ones to march forward in battle, to halt, to lie down, etc. So he had not created anything more complicated. So according to Master Sergeant Jerry Villanueva, who researched the use of taps, it is likely that Butterfield's revised an earlier bugle call, the Scott Tattoo, which was in use in the mid-1800s. The French lights out began to be used just before the Civil War. It is probable that Butterfield consciously or unconsciously remembered the Scott Tattoo version. Although Butterfield may have been influenced by the Scott Tattoo, the changes he made create a unique and haunting composition that still resonates with people a century and a half later. So humbly never making a claim to have composed an original tune, he nonetheless deserves credit for bringing us one of the world's most recognizable tunes. So I believe this is the, there's no official lyrics for Taps, but several people have written words to accompany the melody. Some of us probably know some of that. I'm going to read it out to you. Okay, so here is the, lyrics to Taps. So day is done, gone the sun, from the hills, from the lake, from the skies. All is well, safely rest, God is nigh. Go to sleep, peaceful sleep. May the soldier or sailor God keep, on the land or the deep, safe in sleep. Love, good night, must thou go, when the day and the night need thee so. All is well, speedeth all to their rest. Fades the light, and afar goeth day, and the star shineth bright. Fare thee well, day has gone, right, night is on. Thanks and praise for our days, neath the sun, neath the stars, neath the sky, as we go. This we know, God is nigh. Fading light dims the sight, and a star gems the sky, gleaming bright. From afar drawing nigh falls the night. Then good night, peaceful night, till the light of the dawn shineth bright. God is near, do not fear. Friend, good night. And that is our history on Taps. Thank you, everybody. Hope you all have a happy Memorial Day. God bless.